What's up guys, and welcome back to Software Knowledge Solutions, and today we're talking about Marvel Rivals and the best settings you can use right now at this very moment. Now this is for all users out there. It doesn't matter what user you are. You could be a low-end user, medium-end user, to a high-end user, to a machine that can launch nukes. I really don't care. I'm here to help out the whole community that's playing this game right now at this very moment if you're struggling with FPS. Now this game does use the Unreal Engine 5, so bear in mind that this does use Unreal Engine 5, so it's quite hefty on the GPU itself. But like I said, I'm here to help every single person out there with every single setting you should be using right now at this very moment for the machine that you are running. Alright, so as you can see on the top left corner, I am doing about 160 basically FPS right now at this very moment. That is MSI Afterburner running, as you can see. Now if you want to see your FPS, obviously you just press escape, you go to settings and you scroll down and you come over here where it says show FPS. You can enable it. Okay, Venom, we get the point. Alright, you just say apply, and then you can actually see it on your right hand side of your screen. As you can see there, I'm doing 160 max. That's what I'm doing right now at this very moment. Now this is with my default settings. So as I came into this game, this is my default settings with my machine. I'm running a 14700K and then a 4070 Super. Now bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, you can actually run this game perfectly fine with low end parts as well. You can, just depending on the settings you're going to be using. So let's go over that. Alright, let's make this video short, sweet, and simple, and get over the settings. Alright, let's jump straight into it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so the first thing I highly recommend you go ahead and do is just press this escape button and then go to settings, and you're going to come to the display tab over here, and then obviously you're going to have your primary monitor. You're going to have this game at full screen. Now when I launched this game the very first time, it was at borderless windowed. That's what my machine recommended to me. Alright, so everything that you see inside here right now is what my machine recommended to me. Okay, so I'm running a 14700K and then I'm running a 4070 Super. Okay, now I would recommend that you change this over to full screen mode, and it's going to ask you to actually go out of the game, maybe into the main menu, and then you can come back into the practice mode, or you can quit completely out the game and just relaunch it if you want to. It's up to you to find out if this actually does help you with, like, you know, just overall latency issues and stuff like that. It can actually help you. So have this at full screen, obviously at 16:9, and then your resolution, keep it at the resolution of your monitor. Okay, so obviously you get like 4K screens out there and stuff like that, and 1440p. I wouldn't recommend running your game at that resolution because it is Unreal Engine 5 and it's running on Unreal Engine 5 and it's hefty on the GPU, so you will decrease in FPS. So rather run this game at 1080p. It actually looks really good at 1080p and there's nothing wrong with it. Right, then I have my anti-aliasing and super resolution type at NVIDIA DLSS. The reason why I have this on this because I have an NVIDIA card. Right, if you have an AMD card, I would recommend you use AMD FSR. Please go ahead and select that. Go ahead and choose that if you have an AMD card. Do not choose this. Do not choose this. It's either going to be this if you're on an AMD card or this if you're on an NVIDIA card. Please go ahead and select it. Right, from here, the super resolution mode, I would highly recommend that you change this from quality to balance. So it can balance out the performance and balance out the quality at the same time. Rather keep it like this, don't have it at quality, unless you have a really good graphics card. Then you can go ahead and have this at like ultra quality or quality. I mean, my machine will run it perfectly fine, but I'm not going to do that. I want a competitive advantage over my enemies and stuff like that, so I have this at balance. This is obviously the sharpness of how this is going to look for this, basically. So I leave it here. I'm not going to play around with it. You can play around with it as your own personal preference. Frame generation, I highly recommend that right now, this very moment, in general, don't use it. Just don't use it. It is a multiplayer game. It's not a single player game. Single player games, yeah, then you can use frame generation, because I can make an example to you. If I use NVIDIA DLSS frame generation right now, I'm doing 150 FPS and above. That means if I put this on, I get an extra boost of FPS. I'll be doing 300 FPS, and it will show 300 FPS, but I'm actually not doing that FPS because it's AI created frames, right? So it kind of helps to, yeah, make you look like you have more FPS, but you don't. You're basically still doing the same 150 FPS to 155, whatever. So leave this the fuck off and leave it the fuck off and done. Don't use frame generation in multiplayer games, only in single player games. All right, low latency mode is a very big thing to go ahead and use. If you're on an NVIDIA card and you have this option over here, NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency, go ahead and actually select it and put it on. Please go ahead and put this on. It can actually help you with latency issues, and it can make your game run way, way better. All right, brightness is your own personal preference. I'm just going to leave this as is because my game looks perfectly fine, because I adjust my screens, like just detail and everything with my NVIDIA control panel. And stay tuned for that. If you're on an NVIDIA card, I'm going to go ahead and show you the best looking settings inside the NVIDIA control panel for this game to pop in color and make the game look really good. So you don't have to adjust things inside here. You can go in ahead and adjust it in the NVIDIA control panel. All right. So over here, you can limit your FPS. Now, this is the thing that I just want to point out. If you are playing this game and you run on every single map and you see that you're doing, let's make an example, you're doing 130 FPS, right? And you see it's like 130, 131, 130, 131, 130, 131. Then I would recommend selecting this and then pushing this to 120, like this, just like that, and leave it like that and apply that. So you can actually cap your FPS. This can actually help you with stuttering issues. It can help you with latency issues and all those fucking amazing things that happens to the game where it feels like dog shit. It can fix that for you by capping your FPS. Okay, so by doing that will actually make your game run way smoother. Overall, it will make it run way smoother. You won't get stuttering and stuff like that at all. You really won't. So for me, obviously right now at this very moment, with the FPS that I'm doing, even though I'm going to be changing settings, I'm doing 155. So for me, it will be like 140. So I'll be doing like 140 over here, and then I'll apply it. Because then I'm doing 10 FPS less, but I know that I'll do 140 solid. Everywhere I go, on every single map, and everything will be good, and it won't dip under 140, if you understand what I'm trying to tell you. So leave it like that if you want to do that. It helps with latency issues, it helps with input latency, it helps with stuttering in the game, it helps with a lot of things. Now, if you're not getting any of those stuttering issues or anything like that, I don't really think that there's a lot of people that just has a smooth experience with this game, but I do. So I have this off. But like I said, please go ahead and put this on and then cap your FPS 10 FPS lower than what you're achieving. Okay? 10 FPS lower than what you're achieving. So mine will be 140 right now at this very moment with the settings that I'm running. Okay? Go ahead and do that. It will help you dramatically. It will fucking help you. Trust me on this, all right? So I'm just going to leave this off, like I said. And then you can do this. If you don't have MSI Afterburner like me, you can actually go to Show FPS, and it will come up on the right-hand side here. If you say Enter and apply it, it will come up on the right-hand side. You can actually see the FPS that you're doing. So please go ahead and enable that and see the FPS that you are currently doing. And then you can go ahead and do this over here and max out your FPS to what you want it to be. And like I said, now I'm doing like 162. So now that will be 150. But I'd rather still keep it at 140 and leave it at 140 because then I know I'll do 140 constantly and I'll constantly do 140. But I leave mine off because I don't get stuttering in the game at all. It runs perfectly fine for me. You can go ahead and put this on the network status and then apply it. And then obviously you can see the network status if you're getting like lag issues and stuff like that. Please go ahead and put it on because sometimes you'll think that the game is like struggling to play, but it's actually not the game. It's actually the connection to the game itself. So please go ahead and put this on as well. VSync is if you want to cap your FPS to the hertz of your screen. So let's say you have a 60 hertz screen, you can turn this on. If you have 120, you can turn it on. If you have, let's say 240 all the way to a 500 hertz screen, you could turn it on. It will then cap your FPS to the refresh rate of your monitor. Just bear that in mind, okay, if you put VSync on. And the only main reason why you would put VSync on is if you get screen tearing in this game. Basically, the screen's literally, while you are playing, objects are literally tearing itself apart, then you would put this on. I don't have it on, it runs perfectly fine, and I uncap my FPS, right? This is how I run my game. But yet again, ladies and gentlemen, it's your own personal preference, right? Game language, obviously, it's your own personal preference over here. Then, this is very important. And I'm going to go over this. This is what it gave me when I came into this game, all right? With my machine, this is what it gave me. Now, it says your graphics quality. Now, you don't want to do this. You don't want to change anything inside here. You want to do it yourself. So this one over here, this is ray tracing, okay? So what I would recommend is you go ahead and put it on low quality over here. Please go ahead and do that. That is ray tracing. You don't want to be using this if you have a low-end machine, okay? Even if you have a high-end machine, I wouldn't recommend it, okay? Because it is ray tracing technology that's happening, and you're going to lose frames, okay? So as you guys can see, I'm doing 160 FPS, 162. I'm going to show you the difference what happens when I apply these settings. Okay, reflection quality, I have screen space reflections. Obviously don't have this one over here. I have screen space reflections over here. Model detail, I would recommend having this at high. Do not push this to ultra. Have this at high if you have a really decent graphics card, and put this at medium if you have a medium to low end graphics card. Go ahead and put this at medium. Post processing, I would put this at medium as well. just in general put this at medium. Shadow quality, I would actually put this at medium or low. You could go to low if you're running a budget gaming graphics card. Go to low over here, you should be good to go. Then your texture detail, I would choose either high or medium. Don't go to low, the game's going to look like absolute dog shit, and then you're going to want to tear out your own eyes. Please don't do that. It's either going to be high or medium. So hit medium here if you have a low end to a medium end machine. If you have a high end graphics card, go to high. Never ultra. You don't need ultra when it comes to this game, right? So when it comes to foliage, I would also put this at medium as well, and then leave it like this. You can go all the way to low depending on the graphics card that you're running. If you're running a very low end graphics card, then go to low over here. If you have a medium end graphics card, you know your graphics card can handle this game perfectly fine, you go to medium and you should be good to go. Now, as you can see, I applied all these settings over here, and now I'm going to apply it and to say confirm. And yes, it wants me to go out the game, but I'm just going to press escape and show you that I'm now doing 223 FPS. So there we go. I've increased FPS and my game looks exactly the same. It runs exactly the same. Everything's running perfectly fine. I mean, everything is just good. Okay. Now, I'm a Venom freak. This is why I'm playing as Venom at this very moment. And yeah, that's just me playing as Venom. Okay. So as you can see, I drastically increased FPS in my game. That is the settings you should be using right now at this very moment to get the best performance out of your game. All right, let's jump straight into the NVIDIA control panel to make your game look really, really good. All right, let's jump straight into that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very important if you are an NVIDIA user. Just quit out the game and be on your desktop, and you're just going to right-click on your desktop and go to NVIDIA control panel, and then open up NVIDIA control panel like this. Right, so the first thing I highly recommend you go ahead and do is go to adjust image settings with preview and be inside here. You're going to say use the advanced 3D image settings and click on take me there, which is basically going to take you to manage 3D settings, and you're going to be inside here. Now, all you're going to need to do is copy every single thing I have inside you. You can just pause my video, copy everything inside here, and I highly recommend just copying everything inside here and you should be good to go. So go ahead and select your graphics card over here, prefer performance, prefer maximum performance over here, driver default, off, allow, quality. Now, this plays a very big role on this game. Okay, so if you click this over here, and you have a, let's say, a low-end graphics card, I would highly recommend changing this from quality to high performance. Then the more you work your way up in graphics cards, and you know you got a, let's say, a mid-range graphics card, you're in the 30 series, and the equivalent on AMD side, you go to performance. Now, if you're running on a 40 series card and the equivalent on AMD side, then you go with quality. Just never go with high quality. Never ever select this. It will make your game run like absolute dog shit, because yeah, it's a fuck up of a selection. Just go to quality if you have a really decent graphics card, and yet again, like I said, low end, high performance, medium end, performance. That's what you're gonna need to choose. All right, I am running a 4070 Super, so that's why I have this at quality. You can have this at on, you can have this at auto, and you can have this at off. All right, the rest of the things are just virtual reality things. Don't worry about that, and then just go ahead and apply this if you haven't done this already. Then you're going to come over here where it says config surrounding physics. Now your physics are handled by your graphics card. So please go ahead, if yours is on auto select, select your dedicated graphics card, not your CPU, your dedicated graphics card. Select it and say apply if you haven't done this already. Then from here, you're going to come to adjust desktop color settings. This is the most important role to make the game look amazing. Now, I'll play my game on this screen over here. As you can see, I have multiple screens. I play my game on the screen over here. Now, your brightness, overall brightness, 50%. Leave it there. It is Windows' defaults. Your contrast, I would highly recommend setting this to 65 so you can have more contrast in your games and on your screen itself. Don't put it at 50 because that's its defaults. Then your gamma is at 1.1. That is its defaults. Just leave it there. Then the most important one is digital vibrance. You're going to click on image 3 over here and then just do the exact same thing I'm about to do right now. While you are watching my YouTube video, be on this and pull this all the way to 0. You will see your screen go black and white. Then, if you pull it all the way to, let's say 50, which it's Windows' default settings, you'll see your screen looks a little bit washed out. Now, you don't want that. You don't want your screen to look washed out, and you don't want your games to look washed out. So I highly recommend bumping this up. Just bump it up to 65, find your own sweet spot, wherever you want, 80, 85. My sweet spot for all my games has always been 95, and this is how I play my game, and all my games look amazing. All right, so go ahead and apply this, and this should make your game look really, really good. All right, so you're just going to apply these settings. Don't worry if your screen flashes a couple of times, it's just applying the settings for you. All right, then you can just fuck out of this. Ladies and gentlemen, if this worked for you, smash that like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and as always, I hope this helped you, and peace out.